The PlayStation Store is running its double discounts as well as its games under $20 sale, and in this video, want to take a look at 10 of the best deals that I can find across both those sales. Now, these are going to be deals above the price of $10. We'll do an under $10 video soon. There are just a lot of games under $10. That under $10 threshold is getting more and more difficult to cover as, you know, some of these games age and more games hit that threshold, but nevertheless, let's just get right into this video, and I want to kick things off with the Shadow Warrior Collection, which is 75% off for $14.99. This includes Shadow Warrior as well as Shadow Warrior 2. Now, while I would say that Shadow Warrior 2 is the better game, Shadow Warrior 1 still offers a slick and enjoyable action title. These games are super action-oriented, so if you want to, like, chill out and not get super invested into the narrative of a game, and you just want a fast-paced, high-octane, action-oriented experience, Shadow Warrior is a pretty darn good one, and it's pretty gruesome at times as well, and given that Shadow Warrior 3 is coming up, that game is in development, now would not be a bad time to check out these titles, Shadow Warrior and Shadow Warrior 2 for $14.99. Pretty good pickup. The games aren't the lengthiest games in the world, of course, but for the money, I think you're getting a good bit of content here, so check that out. Next up, we have Metro Exodus, 65% off for $10.49. Now, this is not the complete edition, the gold edition, whatever they call it, so you don't get the expansions with it, so that's kind of a bummer, but at a $10.49 price point, I thought this was good enough to recommend. If you have a PlayStation 5, this game also has a very, very nice PlayStation 5 upgrade, which makes the game quite a bit better. Metro is known to be a game that's a little bit technically accentuating, so high-end PCs were running this game pretty well, and it looked great. PS4s and Xbox Ones were lagging behind a little bit. It was playable for sure, but the PlayStation 5 really removes a lot of those shackles, which is nice to see. And the game itself, a very atmospheric first-person shooter. This one narrative-driven, and I would recommend you to play Metro the Redux Collection. If you haven't, those games are excellent as well. I would recommend all three Metro games, and Exodus for $10.49 is quite a good deal. Next up, we have Motion Twin's Dead Cell. It's 35% off for $16.24. Man, I remember when this game came out and, like, everybody was talking about it. I want to say it was back in 2018, 2017, sometime around then, and I wasn't super into Metroidvanias at that point. Like, I would play them here and there, and I would have fun with them, but Dead Cells really heightened my appreciation of the genre, and that's when I started to get really into it. The game is colorful as all hell with that pixel graphic look, but at the same time, it's so vibrant in presentation, and then you start playing it, and it seems a little bit simplistic on the surface for a little bit, and then you realize there's an incredible amount of depth to the gameplay. It's a challenging game, and it's one with a lot of replayability, and Motion Twin has updated the game. There's a couple DLC packs as well that adds a bit of content, but the base game, I have friends, like, I played it for quite a bit of hours, but I have friends that have clocked in north of 150 hours into Dead Cells. It's a great game, and $16.24 may seem a bit pricey on the surface, given that it's, what, a 3-year-old game and it's only 35% off, but there are certain games that retain their price threshold, and Dead Cells is one that deservingly retains that price of retaining a premier price point, that is, and it's not going to go south of $10, at least not anytime soon, and Motion Twin is well deserving of that because they created an exceptional game. Next up, we have Concrete Genie, 60% off for $11.99. This is one of those PlayStation exclusives that really goes under the radar, but it's quite a good one, especially if you want a game that anyone can really play. If you want a younger sibling, your kid, whatever the case may be, to play it as well. It's a very good game with a very colorful and a vibrant art style as well, and this is one that does have a VR component if you want to use that, but overall a very good game where you're painting a town back to life, and it's a pretty cool story that has, you know, themes of bullying and things like that, but it's also a very charming experience overall, and I would definitely give it a look, especially because a lot of people missed out on it when it originally came out. It was like this game and like the Medieval remake came out right around the same time, and those games kind of got lost in the shuffle, given that, you know, when you think about PlayStation exclusives, you're thinking about the God of Wars and the Spider-Mans of the world, but games like this are quite good as well. Next up, we have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, $19.99 with a PlayStation Plus subscription. Let's get it out of the way. I say it every time when I talk about Jedi Fallen Order. The main drawback to the game is the atrocious map. The map is one of the biggest abominations I've ever seen in a video game, and that is not a stretch. It is so bad, and I don't know what Respawn was thinking with that, but take that away, and I think Jedi Fallen Order is an absolutely superb game. Another game with the PlayStation 5 upgrade, and looks really good on the PS5. Frame rate's really great on there as well. Combat's good. Voice acting, I think, is exceptional. Visuals are great. And, you know, I know some people weren't as high on the main character, and I'm not here to say the main character is an absolutely blow-away lead. But as somebody that's not super into Star Wars, I mean, I'll tell you guys a funny story real quick. Rogue One was like a movie I went on a first date with, and I literally fell asleep in the movie theater. So, yes, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but Jedi Fallen Order was a game that I really enjoyed. And for $19.99, definitely a good pickup, especially if you do have a PS5. Next up, we have Ys 9 Monstrum Nox, which is $36 for Plus subscribers. Ys, I've said it before, but is one of the most consistent JRPG franchises that you're going to come across. Very reminiscent of Tales in that regard, outside of, you know, since Tales of Rise has come out and it kind of like broke out of that consistency and like really elevated itself, but Ys has been very consistent as well. And you can make an argument that Ys 9, featuring a little bit of a darker tonality, does break away from some of the other Ys experiences in the past, but you know what you're getting yourself into with the quality Ys title. You're getting great gameplay, you're getting exceptional music, and with this one, a pretty solid story as well. Lacrimosa of Dana had a great story. Monstrum Nox is a pretty good one as well. If you've played an Ys title in the past, you'll feel right at home with this one from the fundamentals, and it does enough things to engage people if you do think the series is a bit redundant. But hey, they usually say don't fix what isn't broken, you don't need to, and Ys is kind of an exemplification of that, while they are still freshening up the series with every entry, and I thought Ys 9 was a pretty solid entry as well. $36 might be a little pricey to some people, but the Ys titles generally do hold up in price for quite a while, so take it for what it is. Next up, we have Dying Light, the Platinum Edition, which is $24.99, 50% off for Plus subscribers. Now, that might seem a little bit expensive given that the base game came out all the way back in 2015, like January of 2015, but this includes like an absurd amount of additional content. I swear, like, Dying Light, I know people say Skyrim gets a lot of re-releases, and it absolutely does. Dying Light got a lot of re-releases too. You got Dying Light the Following, Dying Light the Following Enhanced Edition, Dying Light Platinum Edition, but the Platinum Edition is the final outing with the entire experience in one purchase, and that's quite nice, and there's a lot of stuff to get into with here, and you have a little bit more time to play Dying Light now that Dying Light 2's been delayed until February of 2022, so check it out now. I think you guys are gonna quite like it. Great parkour platforming sections, solid gameplay, visuals are obviously excellent, and a pretty good pickup from a content standpoint as well for $25. Next up, we have Raccoon City Edition for $32. This includes the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Remake. Obviously, everybody knows Resident Evil 2 Remake is remarkable, one of the best remakes that you're gonna find. Resident Evil 3 Remake, it's not terrible, left a lot to be desired compared to the Resident Evil 2 Remake, but still pretty decent, I think. You know, maybe they cut some corners so they could put in the multiplayer component as well. I'm not exactly sure why, what happened with the Resident Evil 3 Remake, but Resident Evil 2 is exceptional, and Resident Evil 3 is still worthwhile a playthrough, and to get both of them for $32, that's what, $16 a pop? I think that's a pretty decent deal, all things considered. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey Gold Edition, which is a $25.99. This is a really good deal. Now, Assassin's Creed, you guys know how I feel about Assassin's Creed since the revitalization, or the change in the franchise. You can make an argument whether or not it revitalized the franchise, but it probably did, considering the sales numbers for these games since the change-up has been pretty remarkable. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was one that had a ton of content. Like, this game is a gargantuan undertaking, but what's great about the Gold Edition is you get a ton of additional stuff. You get the base game, you get a season pass with 2 major story expansions, and then you also get Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered and AC Liberation Remastered. Now, AC Liberation, I thought was a pretty terrible game. I played it on the PlayStation Vita. However, Assassin's Creed 3, not a bad game. I mean, it's a little bit slow at first, but Assassin's Creed 3 I thought was pretty solid, all things considered. But yeah, to get AC Odyssey, the DLC, AC3 Remastered, and hey, if you want to dabble into AC Liberation, feel free. I just didn't enjoy it when I played it on the Vita. And I didn't really enjoy playing the remastered version either, so take that for what you will. But $26 for all that stuff is quite good. And lastly, Kingdoms of Amalur Ray Reckoning is down to $21.59. Kingdoms of Amalur is a game that I've been talking up well before the remaster even got announced. I was begging for a remaster for like probably 2 years on this channel, and finally we got one. So yeah, you're damn right I'm gonna start hyping it up and promoting it. Now, Kingdoms of Amalur is a great game. I wouldn't say from an RPG standpoint it has one of the strongest stories you're gonna come across. However, I think from a content standpoint, and especially a gameplay standpoint, being a fast-paced action game in this open-world RPG environment, works pretty well. I mean, it's reminiscent of gameplay of a lot of action titles, and again, quite a bit of fun to play through as well. And they're releasing the Fatesworn expansion here, and that should be out sometime soon, but the base game offers a lot to like. $21.59 I think is a good pickup, so check that out as well. And that's gonna be the end of this video. Again, a lot of great deals available on the PlayStation Store. Went over 10 in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for the deals under $10. We'll get to that ASAP, probably sometime this weekend, probably Sunday. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.